Hi. Why are DAOs exciting? Because they are a form of institutional change. They let us change the rules, and they let us enforce rules collectively, which we can't do currently. You know, if the government is doing something that we don't agree with, we have no say in the matter. If a corporation is behaving in a way that we don't like, we can't do anything about it. If I'm an employee of that corporation, I have no say in changing the policy of that corporation. So what we have here is an opportunity. We have opportunity because we have a blockchain. And is everyone here familiar with how a blockchain works? Yes, no, maybe? Just a handful of people. I'm going to talk about that for 3 minutes and then show you the app. A blockchain is a magic pen. It is a magic pen because when you write something down with this pen, it stays there forever. No one can change what you wrote. It will always be accessible for anyone to see. And if you do something, or you write something that is cheating anyone else, that goes against the rules that we have collectively decided on, anyone can point at you and say that person's a cheater. And then they can say, let's kick them out, and let's make sure the rules are enforced. Can we do that right now when the Walt Disney Corporation goes to the government and changes IP law? No. If I'm in a business like Google and my slogan is don't be evil, and then I start doing evil things, do I as an employee have the opportunity to point that out? No. So we have this magic pen, and with this magic pen, we can call people out, we can see exactly what's being done, and we can make sure the rules that we collectively choose are enforced. So this is Alchemy. Alchemy is the first application built on the DAO stack, which is built on the Ethereum blockchain, our magic pen. When I go into the Genesis Alpha DAO, I see right here different modules. And what these modules can do is basically anything. If I go into contribution reward, this is literal distribution of money. This is a decentralized bank. If any of these 3 proposals pass, you get paid. No one has to toggle that payment. No one can stop you from getting paid. No one is going to KYC you. You get the money.
What is KYC?
Know your customer. Yeah.
Can you explain a little more what that means?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So know your customer is with banks, they're required to receive identification from the people who use those banking services. It's often a very invasive procedure, where you have to submit a number of forms and prove you're in good standing. Unfortunately, a lot of people who work in this industry actually are losing access to their bank accounts, and it's pretty easy to see why. We're building an alternative system that will challenge their authority. We're building decentralized banking institutions. This is an institutional technology. So this is one example of a scheme. I want to go to another DAO, DX DAO, and I want to go to proposals in here. So this proposal at the top, it says de-whitelist BLZ from NGN generating tokens. I don't really care so much about that, but I care about what this is going to do. This DAO has control of an application. It has control of a series of smart contracts. With applications, you can apply any logic that you're thinking of. So what that means is that we can have an application that models a bank. It models credit scores. It models insurance. It models a collaborative P2P car sharing economy. And that application and its logic cannot be changed. It cannot be interfered with by any non-DAO actor. The only way to upgrade or change the parameters of this application is using a DAO. It is completely censorship resistant because it is created with our magic pen. So what this proposal is doing, it says, listen, so the DX DAO actually runs an exchange. It runs sort of an auction mechanism so people can buy and sell tokens, these blockchain assets. And what this proposal is saying is that for our exchange, we are no longer going to have the token BLZ be available. And if this proposal passes, it is going to change the logic of this application so that it no longer is available. It's done. You know, nobody is saying, hey, you can't do this, can't do that, you know, you got to go to the SEC, change these standards. It just happens. So this is a second example of a DAO. So I want to go into one final example here, and it doesn't actually have any active proposals, but I can go into the history. If you saw closely, this DAO had 5,000 members in it. And what we are doing is we are testing bigger and bigger DAOs. We want these to scale to the tens of thousands, to the millions of people. That is the only way that this institutional technology is going to be meaningful. If it's 30 people co-managing whatever, that's fine. If it's 300,000 people co-managing whatever, that's better, because then we can start to enact real change. Imagine a collective of 300,000 people who create their own insurance application, who co-insure each other, and remove entirely the rent-seeking middleman who is putting these insurance rates on you. And then the collective is deciding those insurance rates, and then the collective is deciding those edge cases on who should be properly compensated for whatever issue they may have. Imagine a collective of millions of people having their own bank and lending with this bank, creating their own financial tools with this bank. And this is already starting to be done. There's a project called MakerDAO that has issued $43 million worth of currency, cryptocurrency, from a decentralized application. And there is no stopping what they're doing. They will continue to do it, and they will continue to evolve their smart contracts. So with this DAO experiment, we had 5,000 people. Am I running out of time?
No, it's
okay.
good.
So we had 5,000 people, and it largely worked. So what we're using is a market mechanism to sort these proposals. We're using a prediction market. The reason being, if you have 5,000 people in a room, they're all trying to figure something out together, screaming over each other is probably not the best way to do it. We need to have a curation mechanism to properly sort these proposals. This curation mechanism that we've chosen is a market because it is a skin in the game type principle. You know, if you want to elevate something for the DAO to pay attention to, you basically pay a small fee, you stake on this proposal, and let me show you an example of this. And then it becomes elevated so that the DAO can see it. And you can actually see the staking mechanism here in this area. So there were more stakes, positive stakes than negative stakes. So this proposal was elevated to the top, and you as a user presumably are looking at the proposals at the top. When you go onto Reddit, you are not looking at page 2. You are looking at the content on page 1. This is a mechanism to sort the proposals for the allocation of funds effectively similar to Reddit upvotes and downvotes, except because we are distributing funds which are a little more meaningful than, you know, the best cat picture available. You know, we have this market mechanism to do it. So that's kind of the extent of what I wanted to talk about. I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions, so maybe we'll just do that.
Yeah, sure. Bear in mind, there's a whole afternoon to ask many questions, so don't put it all on Pat only. But yeah, Rachel, let's get started.
Well, I just wonder, isn't it like setting up for, like the idea that you put money in and invest in what goes to the top, isn't that kind of the problem with what happens now, where like people who have money will make something more visible, and then that's kind of, it's problematic.
It is problematic, but it actually is a very good mechanism for sorting, because the people who are staking, playing this prediction game, you know, they're putting skin in the game. And if you didn't have a skin in the game, the skin in the game principle being applied, you would expect a lot of spam and a lot of nonsense to go up to the top. And that would basically, for these pool of 5,000 voters, it would be wasting their attention. The idea here is that we're streamlining the attention of the members of the DAO more effectively by creating this market for what effectively gets voted on. And I want to say that the voters are not the same as the stakers. The voters are a completely different pool of individuals, or a collective, or multiple organizations who have come together in a federal structure who are voting on this. So they're two different groups. One of them is trying to earn a profit by doing research on what this group is most likely to vote for and put that into the attention of the group. And the other group is actually doing the voting and the decision making.
But it's like lobbying. I just want to say that. You can go on.
It is a little bit like lobbying, except that it's a decentralized mechanism and not a single actor having lunch with some official, getting them to do what they want.
I'm curious, how could you be sure that this imprint is really unchangeable? Because
It's on chain. You can see every transaction that happens on a blockchain
yes, I understand.
with absolute transparency, and you can see if someone has messed with this transaction. So you can see if they're so it's
So you can see
Yeah.
that if somebody wants to, let's say, hack some kind of text.
right. I should roll back my words there. You can see when somebody is trying to change the process, or trying to cheat the process, or trying to
Right.
hack it in some manner. And we did get hacked about 6 months
Right.
ago. We lost about $14,000.
So
But we could see exactly the steps they took to hack it, and then the next version of that DAO, we removed completely the security vulnerability.
yeah, so it means you have to always be, it has to be secured all the time, actually. I mean, it's an unchangeable thing, but people can change it anyways, but you have the tools to see that it's being changed, and then you have to take
Then you have to take action to fix it.
protocols to
So you're absolutely right. They're
yeah. Okay.
I think my question is a little bit more meta, but maybe helps other participants. When I was studying macroeconomics back in the days, so
Yeah, I did that too.
Like 1999, a lot of these ideas of alternative money, to design money in just a demurrage currency, for example, instead of a money based on interest and interest rates. A lot of that seemed very theoretical, and a lot of people were issuing alternative currencies, but really printing the currencies. For me, the problem a little bit, just looking at myself, for me, when I look at stuff like this and I listen to you, and I sometimes really have the feeling I understand something like 20%. Usually, you fail a test when you don't understand more than 40%. And it's really interesting because I put quite some effort into trying to understand what blockchain is, and just hearing a magic pen, I'm cool with a magic pen. But really understanding it, like I understood when I was studying macroeconomics, I don't know, maybe I have a block in my brain.
It took me about 6 months to get it, and
I'm really always playing the devil's advocate, but really, I mean, I did not get that much from what you were trying to
if
tell
I
me.
can
On
get
the
you
meta structure that we're exchanging smart contracts with a magic pen, and thus circumpassing the conventional system, and we're building a new system that makes the old system obsolete on a very meta level, because we're trusting 300,000 people that you issue me money and I give it back to you just on a different smart contract. Okay, dig into that. But the whole tech thing, I'm like, dudes, what are you telling me? I'm like, I'm happy when I can uninstall my
I'm actually really excited that that's what you're walking away with, because in 10 minutes, that's all I want people to walk away with. I don't want to dive into the technology. I don't think I have time to do that. It would take hours to really explain
or
at a
maybe
high level.
years. I mean,
Or-
when I know that you cannot learn everything in your life.
And it's a matter of doing it, I guess, right? There's only so much you can really understand by reading about it. You have to go through the process. This is also what I was trying to say in the beginning. Otherwise, it's very opaque. You will never get into it. But Konstantin, you had a question.
Yeah. How do you strike a balance between enforcing smart contracts basically and discover within a time frame that the smart contract comes to execution, it might be faulty, or that things have changed. So is there any possibility to overrule?
So to change your proposal once you've submitted it, is that the idea?
Exactly. So
No.
you might realize that there's something wrong with the code, you might realize that there's different approach to organization, so the whole contract is valid 2 years down the line anymore.
So in this first version, this MVP of the application that we've built, there is no changing it. Once you make a proposal and submit it to the blockchain, it's there. What we're evaluating is a model where you submit a proposal and it actually stays off-chain for a little bit, so it's not written to the blockchain. And that gives you a small window for editing it if you notice any errors. But right now what people are doing is if they submit one and it's totally wrong, they'll then submit a second one. They'll say the first one was wrong, downvote that, this is the one that I meant to submit.
Especially that here you have lots of creative coding, what they call it here. And that creative coding can go wrong sometimes.
Absolutely.
Hardcore, yeah. And especially we talk about 5,000 participants and 10,000, so the potential level of conflicts are growing exponentially.
What is creative coding?
Creative coding that you don't really follow the rules strictly. Yeah?
Okay,
You
yeah,
give yourself
yeah.
something
Yeah,
to imitate what's
yeah.
right. And that's the Ethereum community pretty big.
Okay.
Maybe explain what you mean when you refer to on-chain or off-chain.
Yeah, was that distinction clear, or how's my time?
Well, I wanted to suggest, because I realize there are so many questions that come up now. First of all, trust that there will be more opportunities to ask questions. We hear from other people talking. And if you don't feel that your question is like directly linked to what Pat was just referring to, maybe hold back that question. So you can ask Beth or Felipe or Dani. We have more people. But maybe let's take like 2 more questions for now. And then I'd love you to move on and get to know Beth.
I
Because
want
there
to
will be a whole
actually.
new field of questions coming up.
I'm
So-
very happy for a bit of my time to be taken to answer this because he's good at explaining it.
Okay.
I want to plug one thing. I was planning to plug this and I forgot, and then we can do 2 questions and we'll be good.
Great. Okay.
So this is the paper, Blockchains and the Economic Institutions of Capitalism. It was written in 2018. You know, if this 10 minutes was not sufficient, this is the paper you should read. This is the most relevant paper. It's the most well-articulated paper, and I strongly recommend taking a look at this.
Why is it so good, Pat?
Why is it so good? Because
It's a magic pen.
it's a magic pen.
It's written by a magic.
I have one comment, but maybe
Please.
from the other examples is more clear, but I feel like if we really want to see this new way of living, working, and feeling more like that we who care actually can decide on what is the reality that we actually want to create. From what you explained, I felt that still the people who actually really want something because they care to implement this project or this initiative need to get the approval of some others that are not so strictly involved. So there is this different dynamics in different groups, and this is again probably reflecting a little bit the economic dynamics that we have already, and we already saw that they don't work. So I don't really see where is the collaborative aspects with the purpose and the collective direction, and where is this empowerment where the people can actually self-define. We actually believe this is our project, we need 2,000 token, and that's...
So who are the gatekeepers that you're identifying?
Hmm?
Who are the gatekeepers? Because you're saying that there are, you know, people preventing from this collaboration from happening. Can you give me an example of one of these gatekeepers?
I don't know, I mean, coming more from this also building social networks and thinking that this is a bit the direction, I think this would be also interesting, not only keeping in the more business sector, and also to get out of a business mentality where you need to promote and you have to compete. I felt the competition there, I felt that also who has more money or has more things to invest can get also higher chances to get voted. I just saw these dynamics reflected, and where I feel I come from another way of operating that would be okay. We are a collective wanting to do this kind of actions, and is there a legal and economic form that can support us in proceeding with that without having to...
It really depends on the size of the collective. If you're 100 or 200 people, you're right, this is absolute nonsense. You don't really need this to operate effectively, because you look at something like Dunbar's number, you can have this relational contact and you can make effective decisions together. Once you get more than that, then you can't all know each other in a sufficiently sort of, the information is not available for all participants, right? And that's when you need this sorting mechanism to be applied. So for a smaller entity like 100 people, you know, I would say this is not the proper form, or this consensus mechanism that we've developed is not the proper form. But once you start scaling bigger than that, you really do need something that's more effective, and our argument is that this is the most effective way of doing it.
Okay. I suggest Thanks so much for this introduction. And I think you just brought up all the big questions we're going to tackle this afternoon
Nice.
and probably beyond.